Welcome back to Off the Field. We're there for an outdoor segment now where we're going to be interviewing 3 contact sport players. Now, these players...
Hi, my name is Amalia Doris Silva and I'm a rugby player.
Hi, I'm Rujula Kamath and I'm a karate player. Hi, I'm Ayana Menezes and I'm a taekwondo player.
Hi Goa, and we are the women of tomorrow.
I'm kind of panicking, to be very honest. Okay, let me just be very honest with you. These women are incredibly strong. Today, what we have in our studio is the ideal woman. I've spent time with them. They're going to talk to you about their experiences. They are so physically strong, but the best part about it, they're emotionally stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got with us in the studio Amalia, Rujula, and Aina. It's an absolute honor to have you with us in the studio and on this set. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Beyond all that I went through earlier and all the beating that you all gave me, I'll take it. But let's move further. Aina, you're a black belt in Taekwondo, right? What made you take our self-defense? Can you tell us your story?
When I was small, I used to dress up as a superhero, and learning a martial art was the closest I could get to having the abilities of a superhero to protect myself and my family.
Okay, when you say your family, who all were there in your family that you wanted to protect?
Mostly my little brother.
Wow, so you learn self-defense to protect your little brother. This is amazing. I mean, this is a new angle to what I'm listening to now. It's normally the men who want to protect the women, but here you wanted to protect the man? That's amazing. That's amazing. That's such a positive thought coming out from Aina. Amalia, we're coming to you. You are a national gold medalist for rugby. Who ever imagined that? Who ever imagined that, A, rugby would exist, and B, you go up and you win a national gold medal? The game demands so much of you on the field, more off the field. Has this in any way affected your confidence levels and helped you to rise off the field as much as you have on the field?
Well, definitely yes. Like, I can still imagine, I can still remember the first practice I came for rugby, and I remember I was scared. I was literally scared. I'm like, rugby, it's the sport. I'm going to get tackled, I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to get a bunch of bruises. Like, do I really want to play this? And now I can't think of anything without rugby. Like, rugby is literally my life. I feel so confident now. Even when I'm in a national level, I'm looking at my opponent. I know she's going to come and tackle me, and I can look with confidence, give her a smug look and be like, come and get me. And I have like zero fear when there. Even in my day-to-day life, when people try to catcall me, guys try to catcall me, I'm like, I'm not even scared. I'm not even like timid, like, oh, look, this guy, he's doing this. I'm just go up to the guy and be like, you want to say it to my face. And then they just get scared and they wander off. Like,
we've got Rujula with us. Rujula, you won almost every gold that was on display this year in karate.
Oh, yeah.
Do you also possess the same level of confidence that your mates next to you are possessing right now?
Oh yeah, karate has helped me a lot. I mean, not only mentally, I mean physically also. Like, I was very timid, right? I was not very strong, right? People used to make fun of me. I used to get scared to go in first grade class. I mean, that was frustrating for my parents. So my dad just sent me into a karate class, right? And the first few times it was like tiring. You come home, you spread some heat lotion, you fall off asleep dead, right? So after some time, then it gets used to it. You get used to it. It fits into your routine, right? And whatever frustrations you have, like all the day, you talk to people, you talk to your family, whatever frustrations you have, you can just get it into my karate class and just turn it into something more productive. Like, And as the word spread out, right, all people started to perceive me in a very different way. They didn't see me as timid. They saw me as someone brave, someone courageous, and
That's an incredible angle to add to it, Rujula. Aina, you go to school here as well. Did it also give you that sort of confidence when you step back into your classroom after becoming a black belt or after learning taekwondo that, hey, you know what? Don't mess with me.
I'm actually homeschooled now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I never get scared of anyone. But like when I was in school in second grade, some kids used to try and come and fight me.
Okay.
But then once I started learning taekwondo, I could like actually defend myself against them. So like I just give them a kick or something, and then they'd like be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and they'd run off.
I can guarantee you those kicks hurt, and I'm talking about first grade injuries which I've suffered just before this segment, and it's going to take me a long time to ice this and actually get back to normal. Amalia, I'm going to come back to you here. You live in South Goa.
Yes.
Have there ever been any incidents in the past where you felt that you couldn't handle them the way you can handle them now after learning to control your mind and your body through a sport like self-defense through karate and rugby?
Well, there's a lot of things that have happened to me personally. One thing I will say after learning rugby is you learn to kind of like choose your battles. Before rugby, there would be certain incidents that happen and I didn't know what to do. So this was run home and tell your parents. And we were living in such a society and such an environment that their version of precaution, like when they be like, you girls need to take care, their version of precaution was how we dress. Like don't wear shorts, don't wear sleeveless, just don't go out at night. Like this is what they consider precaution. But even if you do dress up with long pants and you do go out, there is still that chance that something could happen to you. Whereas when you learn rugby now, like now that I've learned rugby, I know like no matter what I'm wearing, no matter what time it is, if I go out, I have this 100% precaution of taking care of myself. So if someone comes with me, I know how to show them never to mess with me again. So now whenever anyone comes and if anyone asks me like, what is your opinion? I would be like, don't take precaution as how you dress or what time you're going out. Take your precaution as I'm going to learn something that's going to save me 100%, because precaution on how you dress is not 100%. Precaution on learning a sport that teaches you, okay, I can tell people like you shouldn't mess with me. I can like defend myself, probably give a slap or a punch. Like that's fine. Like that's 100%. People are not going to mess with you. But so many incidents have happened to me, and I've told people, and they're just like, you shouldn't dress like that. And I'm like, now that I've learned rugby, people come, I punch them, and then people be like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm like, yeah, I did. You shouldn't have touched me.
Right. That's a good angle which you bring to this. But of course, we don't want you all to go out there hitting people. But you all also are coming from a school of thought as achievers. You all have achieved yourselves as gold medalists in your own sport. Your message to the people of Goa who are watching you, Aina, who would want to be inspired by you to get into a sport like this, to learn the art of protection and also the art of achieving.
Crime against women is increasing, so I think that all girls should only depend on themselves to defend themselves, and like you shouldn't have to wait for someone to come and rescue you. So if you learn a martial art like taekwondo or karate or anything, you will never be a victim.
Rujula, your message for the people of Goa?
Girls, when you're with your parents, you might be safe, but once you get out of their shadow, they're not going to be there to help you, right? I mean, look at all the rape cases around here. You don't know what's going to come at you. So it's better to have a certain knowledge, a certain practice of defending yourself. And any kind of contact sport will be a great way to do that.
Right. Amalia, it's amazing to hear that you all are just so young and you all are speaking so confidently. Where was I when you all were so... But you guys are just doing so well. I mean, in fact, I'm lost for words today in the studio. A message out there for the people. I know that, you've had issues of support. Sometimes people might support you. Sometimes, your family themselves might be supportive or they might not be supportive out there. Your message to even the families of the girls who might have to encourage them to play sport tomorrow.
I would say one thing to anyone out there is literally follow your dreams and do it for yourself, because in the end this is your life. So no matter what, when you come into rugby, what I've experienced personally is I've had a second family to rely on, like completely. Like I know, like I can call up anyone from my team or my club and be like, I need help, and they're there like 100%. The values that you embed in rugby is like, it's outrageous, because I've played other sports and I know like it's all about the sport and the technique, but rugby, you come in, the first thing they tell you is value, and that's why you get stronger, but you also know to be responsible with your strength. Like, you know to pick your battles. You're not just going around hitting anyone. You learn to pick your battles. That's one thing that is incredible, that you learn. You learn values, you will get strength, you get fitness, you just get everything. And sometimes you won't have support, and you'll feel absolutely heartbroken about it because there's no support. But in the end, you have yourself for support, and that's in the end, that's one of the most important thing, is supporting yourself.
Talking about support, ladies, thank you. Thank you once again for being with me in the studio. I mean, I know we're going to keep meeting each other. I hope to never meet you all in public again, but we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends, and we're always going to be there for you all, and we wish you all the very best in your career. Talking about support, we interviewed a parent, a mum who has put her daughter into a contact sport, and this is what she had to say, and how her daughter's confidence after playing a contact sport has changed not just her life, but her entire family's life. Have a look at this. Hi, we're sitting with Miss Judith Madeira. For those of you who don't know Miss Judith Madeira, she happens to be Sasha's mum. Now, Sasha is one of Goa's finest rugby players, and she's just won a national goal. And in fact, as we conduct this interview, she's at the Team India camp now, probably being shortlisted to don that blue jersey and play for the Indian team. It's such a proud moment, ma'am, to represent Sasha over here, and just know that she's achieving so much for Goa and India through the sport of contact, namely rugby. Moving on, ma'am, you come from a family of athletes. Your entire family has been into sport. You yourself have been a state level player for volleyball and for handball. I've always wanted to ask you, considering the angle of the show which we're trying to portray to viewers out there, do you ever get scared, considering that your daughter might venture out of the house and face an unexpected experience which could, possibly cause harm to her and your family in the long run?
Definitely. Whenever Sasha says she wants to go out with someone, there'll be a lot of questions coming from me. I'll be like, who are you going with? How long will you be away? Who are you going to come back with? How many boys? How many girls? There's a lot of questions that I keep asking her. Sasha is of course not happy because, these questions are, because parents are concerned about their children, they keep on asking. And I always feel that we are living in a world of fear, that you're not sure whether your child, once she goes out, whether she come home safely, and that's the reason why we keep on asking all these questions.
Ma'am, have you ever openly spoken to your daughter about, rapes or assaults or, these unfortunate happenings that happen with women? Do you all ever discuss this as mother and daughter on the table?
Yes, in fact, not only mother and daughter, it's discussed as part of our family dining experience. So whenever we hear of these instances of rapes or assaults on women, it's discussed. We go back and forth with all these do's and don'ts, and then all the instances come out, and we of course speak about this, right?
But yet, as a mom, as someone who's concerned about your daughter, we talk about the fact that men out there are possibly not what we perceive them to be. Do you somewhere fear that, Sasha will yet have to fall in love someday? She'll yet have to find the right man to maybe compliment her, and, obviously you'll be giving away your daughter someday to a man. Does that ever fear you, the sort of balance, how to put that across to her, knowing that there are men out there which are good, but there are also men out there who are not that good?
Yes, as a mother, you're always worried and concerned for the future of your child, and you always want the best for your children. So, I as a parent always feel that parents are the last people to know when something personal is happening in your child's life. I hope Sasha will prove me wrong in that instance. But yes, we hope and pray that whoever she I mean, chooses as her life partner, it's somebody who's compatible with her and who will treat her well. And of course, we've instilled some values in them, and we only hope.
Considering Sasha plays a contact sport like rugby, has it assisted your confidence levels now if she ventures out?
Yes, I feel that from what Sasha was, actually as a child, Sasha was very sick, but she's a fighter and she fought that sickness of hers. And now when we see her, and especially after she joined rugby, we feel that she's more confident of herself, of her abilities, and you can see a lot of confidence in whatever she does. So basically, I have no fear whenever I see her. If she goes out, I know that she can take care of herself, and I definitely would like to thank rugby for it, because she's strong, has become strong.
Right, ma'am. You also mentioned the fact that your around the table, when you all discuss topics of this sort, which could be harmful and don't really reflect a good image of men. You yet mention about the fact that your husband's present at these talks, or your son is present at these talks. Tomorrow they become goodwill ambassadors of good men. What role do they play in society as goodwill ambassadors, showing that men have a responsibility towards women?
Truly, when we're sitting on the dining table, we're discussing all issues that happen around, and it's discussed in the table. And we want our son especially to know that this is all looked down upon in society, in law, and law as well. And we've tried to instill values, principles in both our children, and we hope they go through that, imbibe them in their life as they go ahead. We also tell our son that you have friends, you have friend circles. So when we teach you, we want you to teach your other peers as well. So and your friends as well, and that's how we want him to change. I always remember what our Prime Minister once said in one of our speeches. He says, you ask your child, you ask your daughter what you're doing, where you're going, who you're going with, but you never ask your sons. I mean, ultimately, the men who are raping or assaulting women are somebody's sons, somebody's husbands. So basically, that point has always remained in me, and I make it a point to make sure that I keep stressing on this with my son as well.
That's a very interesting angle that you bring to this. Going to ask you a frank question. All our viewers out there who are watching the show, moms especially, who look at coaches who are trying to teach them some form of contact sport. Would you recommend that, the daughters of tomorrow, or, even moms for that example, should possibly learn some sort of contact sport that would possibly help them out there?
Definitely. Actually, me being into sports as well, I've always told my children, especially my daughter actually, that, and anyway, I think through her genes itself, she's been always into sports and always athletic. But yes, definitely, sports brings out the best in you, and you become more confident of yourself as a person, and you know that you can take care of yourself in any circumstances. So you don't need to basically depend on someone else to take care of you. So definitely sports is a necessity now.
Ma'am, it's been incredible having your feedback, and we do hope that a lot of viewers tomorrow encourage their daughters to learn this form of sport. It could be rugby, it could be wrestling, boxing, or any sort of self-defense which gives them that sort of confidence, not just as players but even as parents. We thank you so much from all of us at Prudent Media for being a part of Off the Field.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the studio. We're going to bring a very interesting angle to this segment of the show, because we're going to talk about labels. Can a woman really do what a man does? If a woman plays some form of contact sport or learns self-defense, is she labeled to be that of a man? Also, can a woman be the face of the house? We've got three very interesting people with us in the studio. I'm going to start off with you, Karishma. Karishma Parker, you happen to be an orthodontist by profession. You're a bikini bodybuilding athlete who's representing the strong woman of today. Tell us, you must have faced these issues of labels as you were growing up and as you were achieving your professional title in this field. How did you overcome these labels to still achieve what you have today?
Okay, to begin with, I was raised up in a family where there was not much gender discrimination. So I was allowed to pursue my dreams without, without feeling awkward about being a girl or a boy. So I grew up with a set mindset of an equality that also made me much of a feminist, and but in a good way. I do not believe in just taking the perks out of equality, but I also believe that women should be responsible enough to take what comes with equality.
So these labels did not actually affect you, that, a woman cannot do what you've done, and it still
No.
helped you move beyond.
Basically, if you do not have it in your mind, the discrimination, it really doesn't bother.
So you're talking about focus. Your focus was strong.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
we asked a similar question to SP ACB Priyanka Kashyap regarding the labels, because all of us know where she is today. She's considered the face of the woman, the future of the woman, and she represents us so proudly at Goa Police. This is what Priyanka had to say with regards labels.
First of all, yes, I would say that sadly so in our society we do have a little bit of stereotyping or typecasting of what a woman should really be, even if it comes to taking up professions. So I would say we would more be associated with being a doctor or with being a nurse, rather than being a cop. But I was very fortunate that my family was very supportive, and I think I got a bigger impetus or a push, so to say, from the people who have been serving. I think they've been a great encouragement for me, and so far the journey could be slightly bumpy, but I think I've emerged quite strong from that, and I derive my strength from the public who I serve, who's always been very appreciative. So I guess the therapy or the solution for the stereotyping would be more and more women, joining police force in my case, and I think that would be a great encouragement, for the women to start breaking the stereotypes and really coming ahead stronger.
Your message to the women out there, who are watching the show, who are possibly fighting these labels which have been imposed onto them, maybe not out of personal choice. What is your message out there to all these ladies?
So I'd say that adversity makes a person stronger, so keep fighting, and you'd emerge successful one way or the other. And I'd say small little failures are always stepping stones to success. So keep struggling, keep fighting, hard work never goes to waste.
Thank you, Priyanka. We also have Pralay with us in the studio. Pralay, by profession, you happen to be an engineer, an IIT engineer by profession. You're a voiceover artist, and today the CEO of Beena Punjani Hair Studio and Academy. We talk about patriarchy in our country. For those of you who don't know what is patriarchy, patriarchy is the belief that we have in our country that only a man can be the head of the home, or only he is the face of the entire household. It does exist in India, Pralay. It exists at a certain level. Why do you think this exists, and does it exist in your house?
Very interesting. One, yes, it does exist in India, quite definitely and definitively, because it's to do with gender roles, I think. The whole caveman time roles of man being the hunter-gatherer and the woman being the provider, that has sort of carried on in society. Indian society has for a long time been still structured that way, where the man of the house goes out and works, the woman takes care of the house. We all have instances in our families, extended families, of this. That's where I think it comes from. And the other thing that I always have found interesting is in Indian society, even when a woman chooses to work, it's a choice. A man doesn't really have a choice. A man has to work and a woman chooses to work. So I think until that goes away, the patriarchy thing will still exist, because women are choosing, that makes it a small subset of women, while men are working by default. That's where patriarchy comes from. Now, as far as I am concerned, I come from a family that was sort of brought up differently, because my father's an engineer, my mother's a doctor. And I've always seen both of them work ever since I was born. They've both been working. My father was in the Navy for 10 years. In fact, he took voluntary retirement and then eventually went on to support my mother in her nursing home, running and operations and everything. So I've never had any issues of patriarchy. I mean, again, I come from a Bengali family where women are traditionally a bit stronger. But I think it's got a lot to do with whether both parents are working or not. That equality in the household comes from both parents working, and that's always been part of my household.
Right, we've got Anushka in the studio with us. Anushka, you happen to be a captain and a pilot of a very reputed international airline. I would say you're one of the first Goan ladies, who's possibly achieved this feat, or amongst the very few who've reached so far. When you were growing up, I'm sure you had a desire to become a pilot of an airline. How did you work beyond stereotypes that existed around you? You're half Indian. How did you exist? How did you rather portray yourself to yourself and then society that, I wanted to become a pilot and I'm ready to work beyond the labels that exist?
I think I'm lucky. From an early age, I grew up in Europe, and from the age of 4, I've always wanted to be a pilot. It's the only thing I can ever remember wanting to be. And of course, at that age, you tell your parents, you tell your friends, you want to be a pilot, and they think this is a kid, she's just dreaming. She's never going to be a pilot, that's for other type of people. Luckily, I never lost the dream or the passion, and I worked through it. With sports, as also that helped me pursue my career because it pushed me to achieve my goals. And it also
we'll come to the sports element very shortly, but just sticking back to the fact that today you are a very successful pilot. Did you have any issues at that point in time? What was your mind like when you decided that yes, I want to be a pilot?
I don't think I ever thought beyond it. I mean, it's the only thing I can ever remember wanting to be. And there were a lot of hurdles at the time. I wasn't the best at maths, I wasn't the best at physics. And of course, you have your teachers telling you, you're never going to make it, you're never going to achieve it unless you achieve the top grades. But I pushed through it, I got the grades I needed, and here I am today. I do what I do.
Thanks, Anushka. We're going to come back to you. Pralay, we've yet got you with us. You mentioned that you were brought up in a household that respected women. Can you quote any such incidents you remember as a child when you were growing up where you learned this sort of respect?
Well, for me, the biggest example is the fact that my father, who was in the Navy, and a Navy job is a transferable job. Every year and a half, we would be moving around. Apart from the fact that the 2 kids in the house, their education was suffering because of this moving around, my mother's career was suffering. And one of the big factors in my father's decision to eventually take voluntary retirement from the Navy was to make sure that my mother had the career that she was capable of, that the potential that she had. And after he quit the Navy, he took on a job that wasn't very demanding, so that he could even help my mother out in her, because she's a great doctor, but running a nursing home takes more than that. And he's actually actively contributed every single day of my life. Every morning I wake up and my father is sitting with the hisab, kal kitna collection hua, aaj kitna bill dena hai. So that I'm seeing that on a daily basis. So every single day I'm seeing this. I'm seeing how the man is being supportive to the woman, letting her pursue her dreams and careers.
Right. Thanks, brother. It's a very interesting angle of talking about how households can work together to commonly achieve. Priyanka, Karishma, we're coming back to you. You have such an elegant and striking personality, but yet your strength can possibly put anyone to shame. Not just I'm not just talking about your peers, but it could even be men. I mean, I'm sure people aspire to be as strong as you. Women watching the show, what can they take back? You're an orthodontist. You're doing so well even professionally. What do you have to tell the people of Goa?
I want to begin with by telling that I wasn't this strong all my life. Just 2 years back, I decided to take up strength training and weight training for fitness issues, but and also because I was going through a very weak phase of my life and I was feeling lost. Yoga or meditation was not my kind of thing. I had a lot of aggression in me. I didn't know where to begin, how to start it, but I started off in the gym. I started lifting weight, and that started giving me a lot of peace. It was very therapeutic for me, and that built me up completely.
Yes, I mean, all of this does have a science. We know that, all of us do believe in some form of meditation, and of course, there's always yoga to help us. But you're also reiterating the fact that, you were going through some sort of depression, and what you did in sport helped you.
Definitely. It helped me get a grip of my life. It helped me to start somewhere where, all the pieces were scattered. I put myself back and I started, growing from within, and it helped me in my career as well. It strengthened my mind. It brought focus back into my life.